A wall of separation between church and state. This quote from Thomas Jefferson has become one of the core beliefs of American politics and law. Nevertheless, the lines between the two often blur, causing controversy. The religious beliefs of the candidates is a subject that sometimes comes under scrutiny. Perhaps no one realized this more than Governor Pence after signing into law the Indiana Religious Freedom Restoration Act in 2015, a bill which would allow people or businesses to legally refuse to carry out actions that were mandated by the government if they believed the religious freedoms were being burdened. The dispute over this law began when members of the LGBT community felt their civil rights were under attack after certain institutions, most famously bakeries specializing in wedding cakes, refused to serve them. We wanted to hear what local business owners thought about this law, so we scheduled an interview with Anna, the owner of the Mothership Bakery in Danbury, Connecticut, to get her opinion. What role, if any, does religion play in operating a small business?
For me, it plays a big role because I'm a very religious person, and so it affects how I treat my staff. It affects how I treat the wonderful customers that come here, and we see it as a bigger picture. I think that the business should try to appeal to the needs of the customers rather than the political views.
We set up an interview with Professor Chuck Mullaney of Western Connecticut State University's Division of Justice and Law Administration to learn more about how the government tends to define the separation between church and state.
I don't think the Supreme Court has done a superb job of clarifying free exercise of religion and what the Establishment Clause is.
Even though Governor Pence later signed an amendment to this bill providing protections to members of the LGBT community, it is clear that the constitutionality of this law is still in question.
The 14th Amendment has this great clause called, no state shall violate the equal protection of, people are entitled to equal protection of the laws. That's the classic clause that has been used for decades in this country with respect to racial discrimination and gender discrimination.
We interviewed several students from Western Connecticut State University to learn more about how religion affects their voting decisions. Do you take into account the religious beliefs of political candidates when deciding who to vote for?
Of course I do, because if a candidate's religion discriminates against me being myself, why would I vote for them?
Do you take into account the religious beliefs of political candidates when deciding who to vote for?
Yes, I do. I consider the religious background as well as their educational background because there's just so many different things that culminate what they stand for.
While the government may blur the lines between the separation of church and state, one thing remains certain. The religious beliefs of the political candidates will remain on the minds of American voters as they head to the polls tonight. This is Anthony Asmar, WCSU News, Election Connection.